Thank you so much for joining us, getting one with indie artist DRUV KENT today. So good to have you on the show.
Thank you, Erica. Lovely to be on Radio 1.
So, I've been hearing so much about you. We haven't had the chance to have this one-on-one, and very interesting story you have, Dhruv. The fact that you give up your day job as this finance executive to follow your passion. Have you had moments of regret, though, especially in the last couple of years, when the pandemic hit and the music industry pretty much shut down?
Yeah. Well, I mean, firstly, there are moments of regret on a daily basis when you make a decision as big as that.
Yeah.
But regret is too strong a word. There are
Okay.
moments of reflection, right?
Oh,
Let's say.
okay.
But I haven't actually had any moments of real regret because I'm doing what I wouldn't be. I don't have any choice almost in this decision. It's kind of that strong, kind of let's say compelling kind of need to do what I'm doing. It's of course based on a rational set of kind of principles about can I afford to eat? Can my children afford to go to school? So those are the kind of basic things one has to think about. Absolutely. And touch wood, those are not my primary concerns, and they have
Mhm.
been for a lot of my family or friends of musicians. And as you said, a lot of them have had to make really hard choices, going back to things that they don't think are ideal, which is not music, really.
Yeah.
I haven't had to deal with that just yet, but what I've missed is structure. So I used to have the ability to, even when I was a banker, for sure, there's too much structure, right?
Mhm.
When I was an artist, I had to create my own structure
Yep.
on a daily basis as an entrepreneur, as an artist, both. And then finally, in a COVID world, you've got no structure because no one's got any structure. Everyone's floundering. And then you're kind of, my God, and you can't perform. You can't. So it's really, that was the hardest part, the kind of determination, really, the kind of mental strength almost to just say, you know what, this will pass
Mm.
and got to keep going.
Yep. This will
Yeah,
pass, and you got to keep going. Hashtag Dare to Dream. That's your tagline. Where did you find the
it is.
courage,
Yeah.
though, to break away from the norm and to follow your dreams? That would have taken a hell of a lot of courage. What was that decisive point?
I think the decisive point was the songs. Really, it was just the songs. It became an obligation, right? To kind of do, I know it sounds kind of strange. It sounds kind of like I'm looking at myself from another prism almost. But the truth is, when the songs had become so strong, I felt that they were good. I felt they were great, to be honest, without trying to sound. That's what compelled me to do it. You asked me that
Yeah.
question, right? So it's really that strength. And I said, who else is going to care about these songs that are coming through me? No one else is going to take their entire life and kind of have people listen to them. It's got to be my job. So it was a moment of honesty, of integrity, of feeling, who am I? And if I can do it, why would I not do it? What else would I be doing which would be better than that? And this is a lesson for my children. It's a lesson for me. It's a lesson for everything, and it's kind of standing true to what I hold dear, which is being honest with yourself. So it
Right.
was that, dare to dream. And
Right.
if you dare to dream, be careful. What you wish for is also part of the second part of that, let's say, that hashtag, right? And you've got to be willing to confront reality and confront the let's say the challenge that your dreams present
Yeah.
in your daily life. How do you do it? Can you do it? I think you can do it, but what are you willing to give up? If you're willing to give up a lot of shan, shorat, all these other
Mm.
things, that's not my driver. It's
Yeah.
the music.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I mean, to be brutally honest with yourself and what you want. And you made the right choice, clearly, because you've had a lot of success, number ones in both the world indie music charts and the Euro indie music charts and so on and so forth. What does it take as a musician, as an artist, to make it to the top of the charts? And we're not just talking about, oh my God, I'm there, all the glitz and glam, but the grit behind it.
Let's park the let's say certain amount of talent, which obviously I don't want to kind of talk about because it's not really objective of me to kind of talk about that. But that is an essential ingredient for anyone trying to pursue an art, right? So that's one. I'd say it's also this thing that I just talked about, which is this belief. Maybe it's a sense of believing in yourself and your dream so strongly that you can kind of stand up, and you will absolutely get so much pushback. You will get so much bad feedback. Your song's not good. By the way, this one's a little too fast for me. This one's a little too slow. This one's lyrics are great, but it's not as good as the one the last. There's so much feedback. It's all constructive for the most part. There's some very destructive feedback. So, I would say take away the destructive feedback.
Hmm.
Listen to the people and the voices that you think are coming from a true place. Use that and the art that you love as
Right.
fuel to keep going forward, and keep going forward. If you are good, if your art is good, if you are true to your art and yourself, you will find a way if you can stay long enough. The truth is, as you said earlier, people can't stay that long sometimes. You just
Hmm.
can't. You have to eat food,
Yeah.
and you have to feed your kids, and you have to pay rent. If you can do those things,
Yeah.
then stay with your art. It will prove itself to you.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that's what I'm doing, and that's what so far is working. So, let's
Yeah.
see. Yeah.
Okay. So, can you then describe your sound for us? How would you like to describe your sound?
Oh God, this is a tough one. So I have really, from the beginning, been tried to, people have said, "Are you sound a little country, folk, pop, uh, Indian, but not Indian." And I just don't know how to describe it. My truth is that every song, I think, follows its own sound, and for me. And because I am not in a box, I don't belong to a label.
Hmm.
I don't belong to anybody else. I'm making a Hindi song one day because it has, people seem to say that it has this DRUV KENT sound to it, which is, I guess, my voice and my writing style. But really, I don't fall into a box, and I love it. Right?
Yeah.
The fact that, but each song does fall into a box. That's true.
Okay.
Each song you can kind of describe as into three or four boxes. So this new song, Magaresa, is really, I would say, different from my previous
Hmm.
boxes that I would kind of try and categorize or try and explain my music to someone who hasn't heard it.
Right.
I would say, firstly, listen, and you decide how you want to describe it. But I would say, let's say, Glitter and Dynamite or I'm Still Writing are a little more folk, country, pop, in a
Okay.
Western folk way. Yeah.
Right.
And I would say this song, Magaresa, and the new stuff is, slightly Euro pop, slightly, it's still got a folk element because I'm still writing the lyrics pretty much,
Okay.
all the way through.
Right.
So it's kind of still got my songwriter style. So that's a
Okay.
long answer.
Okay.
Sorry.
Wow. Okay. Well, you've got a solid production team based out of the UK. Am I right?
So usually my production team is in the UK. For
Right.
this new stuff, it's
Right.
Sweden.
Ah, okay.
So
So
yeah, so
either which way, you're like straddling continents, you're working remotely using the wonders of technology. Has that
yes.
been challenging for you as an artist, or are you like really excited by it and you sort of embrace technology?
No, I love technology. Actually, I think technology is super cool, but I have been absolutely distraught in the last few years trying to find a solution because there's no supplement or there's no substitution
Hmm.
for human contact when it comes to
Absolutely.
creativity, right?
Mm.
So it's so interesting. So a lot of my music I've created in this room. This is my home studio in Singapore.
Okay.
And I write it, I compose it here, on the guitars or the keyboards, on the drums in the other room. So I kind of do all that, right? But at the end of the day, I need to use other kind of, like in this song for Magaresa, the new song.
Hmm.
It came out of a, So can I tell you a quick story?
Please go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So it came out of I arrive in Stockholm where Doug Carr, who's this amazingly massive producer in Sweden,
Hmm.
he's kind of created Ace of Base. He's done work with the Backstreet Boys, Spice Girls, the Cores, and he's been around the block.
Right.
And he's kind of we've been introduced. He listened to my music. He said, "Great, I love it. Let's do something together." So I show up in Sweden, okay, and this is pre-COVID, just
Hmm.
pre-COVID. I show up in Sweden, and he drives me to his beautiful home and his beautiful studio on a hill, looking at a beautiful lake. And we get in, and we're talking about. He says, "Okay," so he says, "What do you want to write about?" So I said, "Well, I've got a song called Runaway." And he
Right.
says, "Okay." I said, "I've got a tune. I've got, Don't you run away.
Yeah.
So that's it. I've got that, you know, and
Yeah.
I've got a feel. And he says, okay, I got a guitar lick, and he goes, chung, 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 chung. I was like, dude, okay, we got a song, right? So we start writing the song. 6 hours later, we've got Runaway done. It's written. I've written all the lyrics. We've composed all the top line. The song's recorded.
Wow.
And I'm going to sleep in his little son's room, who's in boarding school.
Right.
I'm sleeping there for the night and leaving the next day.
Right.
And then he says, "Why don't you just ad lib a little bit on the back of it? Give me some of your desi stuff."
Right.
And I said, "Okay." So I'm going with some Nusrat
Uh-huh.
infused kind of stuff, and I'm going and then it comes Magaresa. So I just come up with this, and they said, "This is the title of the song. It's going to be called Magaresa."
Okay.
And Runaway is going to be in parentheses because this is what really the song could be about. So,
And there we have it. Oh, we are loving the vibe, I have to say. It's such a party vibe as well. Before I get to it, though, Dhruv, a little
yeah,
bit about yourself.
yes,
What do you do in your downtime?
yeah. So downtown. So I'm a husband. I'm a
Hmm.
father. I'm a son. So there's that, which is a large part of my identity. I'm a friend. I'm
Okay.
very social. I
Uh-huh.
love people. I'm a band leader for the DRUV KENT band, and we just won this big award, which was great. We had the best live performance, which was like a surprise and
Hmm.
fabulous. So I've got a band which is not downtime. That is somewhat mix of work and pleasure. I've got lots of friends. I've got my lovely mom who's currently visiting, and so it's a lot of personal stuff. So I get involved in that. I love poetry. I love checking out sites about writing. I'm deeply involved in musicians' lives. I'm deeply involved in their stories. I love great writing, any
Right.
kind of great writing. I love great filmmaking. I just
Okay.
enjoy great cinema, great Netflix shows, and
Yep.
stuff which is really
Hmm.
well made.
Right.
That's what I do.
Okay, you're one hell of a creative soul. And thank you so much for the share. Lovely story about Margaresa. It's time for us to sample it. I have to thank you, though, for joining us. It's such a pleasure chatting with you. And I'm looking forward to connecting with you, hopefully face to face. If you ever come to Mumbai City,
Yes,
and when I'm back in Mumbai City, we got to do a catch up. You have to come to our studios, and we're going to have some fun together. Thank you so much for joining us.
thank you, Erica.
94.3
One world, your station.